I'm very privileged to be inviting different entrepreneurs and women leaders in the marketplace to come and share with us. So this platform is specially dedicated to you, so that you can learn from all the successful leaders out there, their challenges and their nuggets of wisdom that they are so generously sharing with us. And today we are very excited because we have Sunny Beutler from Sunrider International. Hi, Sunny.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for setting aside your time, your valuable time to do this conversation with us. And before we go into all the questions, and to learn from you, can you share with us a little bit about yourself? Something personal as well, something
Yeah.
informal. Yeah, fun fact about you.
Fun facts. I don't know. When you ask my kids, there's not that many fun facts, but no. So I live in Los Angeles, and we have for our company we have operations all over the world, and we're really lucky to have an office in Singapore. So we love Singapore a lot. Actually, right before the pandemic, the last place we went to in January before was Singapore. So we heard about, things that were going on in China. We weren't sure what we're like, oh, should we be worried? I don't know. But we were having fun, and it was my whole family. So my family, my siblings, my parents, there were 31 of us
Wow.
traveling in Singapore together. Finding a hotel for that large of a group is difficult. And also restaurants to eat at. It's difficult for such a big group. But we have
Yeah.
I have a lot of siblings. I'm one of 5 children. And I have 3 children myself. And so it was a really fun trip. And that's actually what my kids always talk about. So when they're like, oh, first place we can go when we go to Asia is we go back to Singapore. It was so much fun. So yeah, we have lots of kids in our family. So it's very fun.
Wow, sounds so exciting. Sounds like a really very fun family to be with. 31 of you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
wow, that is really some an exciting adventure,
Mhm.
especially during the pandemic. Yeah. So how was that the first time your children visited Singapore?
Yeah, that was the first time
First time.
for my 2 youngest ones. My oldest daughter, when I was pregnant with her, well, she's 11 now. So we actually right after I had her, I moved to Tokyo for my husband's job, and I was working for Sunrider at the time, and so we traveled to Singapore, Malaysia a lot.
Mhm.
So I took her when she was really little, but since then, yeah, it was 3 years ago. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I understand that you are now the Chief Executive Officer of Sunrider International, right?
Mhm.
And can you share with us a little bit before you took over this role? Some of your experiences in the marketplace before you took over this role.
Well, something interesting about Sunrider is that it's a family-owned business.
Mm.
So my parents started Sunrider when we were very little. So my earliest memories of working were at Sunrider. I used to work in customer service. We would stuff envelopes. I did the mailroom. I worked conventions. My parents just made us do whatever needed to be done since we were little. But I did go to law school. I worked in a lot of different kind of organizations, nonprofit, um, NGOs. I had work with some like government organizations as well, private law firms. But when it came to time to decide what to do, um, I prayed about it and I talked to my
Mhm.
parents a lot. And they didn't force me to join Sunrider. So they didn't want me to have that kind of pressure. So, but I did decide to join Sunrider. So when I did, my mom was really excited. She was like, yes, I've succeeded as a mother getting you to join Sunrider. But that was a long time ago. And so I've been working at Sunrider ever since. Yeah.
Wow. You mentioned that you prayed about it, and
Mhm.
what is it? What was that push factor or that deciding factor for you to come forward?
There were a few.
Mm.
I feel like with running your own business, you have a sense of responsibility to people. And so
Mm.
I think that's what my parents didn't want to pressure me to come back either. They
Mm.
wanted me to have that own the volition to come back, the wanting to serve people. So I think the thing I could see most beneficial about Sunrider is that I could help a lot of people. And I knew that I could from the very beginning. And I didn't start out with a big job. My parents, they never put me in a big position. So I had to start
Mm-hmm.
small. But I felt like I could make an impact and that I would be able to help a lot of entrepreneurs, because what we do is we have a lot of people who are doing the business part-time from home, and then
Mm.
they transition to doing full-time. But in that transition process, they find themselves and they're able to get a team together. They're able to become a leader themselves and to make money and to help other people make money. And I thought, what's a better choice is to either be a lawyer and
Mm-hmm.
sue people,
Right.
or I could be helping people and allowing them to find their own voice.
Yeah, I think I like what you said about serving people and serving people through this platform, through this business. Yeah, I think that is something that is very fulfilling. I mean, in my own
Mhm.
personal opinion, I find that very fulfilling when we serve people with solutions that we are able to provide. And just now you mentioned that, in the process they discover themselves. I think that's really
Yes.
beautiful. Yeah.
It's exciting to see people come out of their shell and to
Mm-hmm.
realize that they can do a lot of great things that they didn't think they could do before.
Yes. Yeah. So, tell us a little bit more about Sunrider. Like, what is this business really about? I know you mentioned about, this is providing the platform for people to, in that journey, they discover themselves. But tell us a little bit more about the business itself.
Well,
Hmm.
we do a lot of aspects of things. So we have a manufacturing arm, and we manufacture our own products. We do herbal nutrition, health foods, skincare, beauty products, household products. So during the pandemic, we were very popular because we do have cleaning products. So we manufacture all these products and we distribute it in a different kinds of ways. We do some retail distribution, and we also do direct selling. So in
Mhm.
Singapore right now, we're doing direct selling. We did retail before as well, and I believe we have some stores in the marketplace still, which is great. So we have the ability to help people start their own business from their home. If they want to, they can open a store, but it's not necessary.
Mm.
And we help people sell great products that they know they can trust, because we research and develop everything ourselves. My father is a pharmacist and a chemist.
Mm.
My mother's a medical doctor, and they created most of the products themselves. And my brothers, since I have a large family, right, 5 kids.
Right.
Um, my brothers, one of them is an organic chemist, and the other one is a medical doctor as well. So they work together. We work with our marketing team. We do lots of research and development, and everything we test on ourselves and our children. We
Mhm.
are guinea pigs. My parents gave us everything. If it tasted bad, they still gave it to us to try it out. So I think people know they can trust the products, which is really great.
Mm.
My kids love it. So they're always like, oh, these samples, and we're just trying everything on ourselves first to make
Mhm.
sure it's safe before we share it with other people. So we allow people the opportunity to purchase these products and to sell them to other people, to
Mhm.
their friends, to their coworkers, to anyone else they meet out there, and help them start building a business. So the more they sell, the more money they can make.
Wow. Oh, I love the fact that you are, the whole family, it's almost the whole family working together
Yeah.
and yeah,
Mhm.
experimenting the different products together. I think that is so beautiful. And I think, like you mentioned, because you all do everything yourself and you tested it on yourself, I think that really built trust. Yeah. So people may
Yeah.
like people, like I just remember what Zig Ziglar said that people listen to you because they like you, but people
Mhm.
do business with you because they trust you,
Mhm.
right? Yeah, and I think trust is a very important element or value or virtue in our business world. Yeah. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that backstory. I think that is so interesting. Yeah. And so you came from the law background, right? The legal and law background. You
Mhm.
mentioned that you study law, and so what were there? I believe there are struggles and challenges, or challenges that you face when you are transiting. But because of your background of working with the family since you're little, I'm not sure if that,
Yeah.
eliminates some of the struggle in transiting into this role.
Well, I definitely knew all the employees at headquarters and most of the employees overseas too. I mean, we traveled all the time when we were younger
Mm,
with my parents. They would take us to meetings with them, and we would be, handing out flyers, answering questions, and helping with the microphone. We just did whatever my parents told us to do.
mm.
So we knew a lot of our sales leaders already. I mean, I basically knew everybody going into it because I'd work with them every summer, no matter what. and
Wow.
yeah, so I grew up with a lot of these people. Um,
Mm,
so it wasn't a huge transition for me because I love the products. I use them all the time. I shared it with all my friends. I signed people up as distributors when I was in college. They didn't
wow.
go
As
under,
you
didn't go
started
under
young,
me. No, they
started
didn't go under
early.
me. But, I said I introduced them to Sunrider. I said, you could just try it. You
Mm,
can make money doing this in college. And people were like, what? So yeah, it's pretty natural. Yeah.
right. So, but in the midst of that journey, can you recall any specific challenge that stick to you, or like you really have to overcome that challenge?
There's a lot of challenges. I
Mm-hmm.
would say just coming up with one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think one of the biggest challenges is trying to understand how you can help people individually. So for me, because at the time my parents told me to start working with Asia. So I started working with Asia at the time. Um, and I served a mission for my church in Taiwan, like the two people with on bicycles, with
Mm-hmm.
you know riding their bikes and talking about, Jesus Christ and everything. So I lived in Taiwan doing that for about a
Mm-hmm.
year and a half. And so I felt like, oh, I can understand people. But in reality, no, I mean, it's very different than doing that. And I had to learn how to, talk business, and I had learned to read Chinese, business Chinese. I'm so
Mm-hmm.
used to doing non-business Chinese things. And so I had to
Mm,
learn that. That's a challenge. And having people just talking in a way where people could understand me in Chinese. I mean, it's
mm,
very difficult when I was started because I talked a certain way, very casual, and
mm-hmm.
also, like I said, a lot of it was missionary things that I did before. So
Mm,
I talk like a religious person, but I didn't really
mm,
talk like a business person. So I think that was kind of a challenge for me, is to get out of that kind of my language mindset. Um, and seeing how I could help people in each country that I went to in Asia. So every country is different. It's, just because you speak the
yeah,
same language, it's not the same. So
yeah.
trying to understand different countries and seeing and just realizing that every country needs something different. It doesn't matter what they are.
Mm.
So just trying to see how we could adjust for each country and make sure that we're helping them in the way they need.
Wow. Wow. I think behind all that, those were the actions that you took, right, to overcome the language and the culture differences. Yeah.
Mhm.
What were the mindsets, what were some of the beliefs and mindsets that you needed to address, and how did you overcome those, um, if they
Um,
were
yeah,
negative or, yeah.
I'm very American. I grew
Mm-hmm.
up here in America, so I think overcoming that is difficult as well, just trying to not think so much like an American. I don't know about other countries, but I think just the way I was thinking, like, why don't they don't get it. I mean, it should be this way, but obviously not, right? So totally
Mm-hmm.
different backgrounds. So I think just being conscious of it, just consciously knowing that each country is different, what they think is going to be different, what I'm thinking, and trying to understand what they're going through. So a lot of times, I think the best thing is to just listen.
Mm,
So I just listen and try to understand what they're thinking. When I was living in Japan, it was difficult because Japanese culture is so different from, American and Chinese, and very different.
yeah.
And so a lot of listening, just trying to understand what they're thinking and trying to put myself in their shoes. I think it just takes a little bit more patience than I initially have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So how many language do you speak now?
Oh, I only speak Chinese,
Chinese.
Mandarin, and English. My husband speaks Japanese. He speaks a lot
Oh,
of languages. I only speak two.
wow. Yeah, I think that requires a lot of, I mean, the attitude to grow and learn, to be open-minded and with a growth mindset, in order to pick up so many different languages. Yeah.
No, he speaks a lot of languages. I only
Uh-huh.
speak I only speak the two, but, we have translators, which helps a lot, but
Mm,
I think just listening to what people are thinking and trying to understand where they're coming from is really important. Yeah.
yeah. I think sometimes we don't really need to, I mean, by listening, it's not just, there's a difference between hearing and listening, right? Yeah. And listening includes body language. I'm personally, I feel.
Mhm.
So being present with the person, and like you mentioned, really listening to what are their needs. Yeah, I think that is a very crucial point that we want our audience to take note of. Yeah, because like what Sunny said, really listening to what their needs, so that we can shove them down with um, a whole a whole toolbox of solutions, right? Yeah, we
Mhm.
got to first understand what are their needs before we provide the appropriate solutions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you cite an
Mhm.
example of something, a challenge and how you overcome it? Like, just an example so that we can have more insights into that. Yeah.
Okay. So how challenges. We have a lot of challenges, I think, if I'm talking about business related challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Working internationally is difficult, right? Because we're all on different time zones
Yeah.
and we always have to try and accommodate the other people. So, one of my biggest challenges is trying to work in the different time zones. So, I set up my schedule so that I just have to remind myself what's important. So, I want to be present for my family. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's difficult for a lot of women because you can have like that mother guilt, oh, I need to be there with my kids. And my kids always run in during my meetings. So, I have to always block out time for them. So I think that's really important to say, I'm going to be there for them in the morning from until they go to school.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to be on meetings then. I am going to be with them for dinner time every night.
Mm-hmm.
So I block out from 6 to 7:30 p.m. I know it's just for me and my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also and I work around those times. So I work at night for Asia and I work in the mornings too, but I always have that block of time. So I think that's something I had to learn. Before I had kids, I was working all the time, um,
Mm.
like very workaholic. And my husband he's my alarm clock, and he'd always tell me when to go to sleep. He's like, you have to stop. So I think when I had kids, then I realized I'm like, oh my gosh, I had to really structure my time a little bit differently than what I
Mm.
had been doing before. So trying to make time for things that are important is really
Mm.
important. And I think it's a challenge because every day there's going to be something where they're like, "Oh, at 6:30, I need you to do something." I'm like, "Well, I can't." I always have to rearrange things. I reschedule things all the time. So,
Right. Yeah, I can resonate with that. Like, we must have a so-called a routine, or cultivate a healthy habit. Yeah,
mhm,
and setting aside time for our family is, I think it's an essential. It's a non-negotiable in my calendar. Yeah.
mhm.
So, and especially, we are mothers. How old are your children, by the way?
I have 11, 6, almost 7, and a 4-year-old.
Oh, you have three.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
I have two. Now, mine is are already young adults. They are one is 22 and one is 20. So
Oh,
yeah, so it's a different set of challenges, but
mhm,
like setting aside time. So we have one-to-one dates. I go out with each one of them. So they have my
mhm.
personal one-to-one time as well. Yeah. So I think
Yeah,
that is something that, yeah, for all mothers out there, you want to start young, like what Sunny did, uh, block out certain time for our children. Yeah,
mhm.
and have that habit. You can, I have the dating habits with my dinner with my children. Yeah. So, or
Yeah,
even basic things like story time. When they were younger, I remember they can't go to bed until they have their bedtime stories. They will throw the book in your face.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that,
Yes, that time is really important for kids. They like the routine, and I think, just making it known to them that they're important is really is very important, to let them know that they're the priority in your life and that you're
mhm.
going to be there for them so they can rely on you. I think it's one of the most important things.
Yeah. And I believe that quality time is, it is outweighs, quantity, because you can, I've seen people, parents and children together, in the restaurants, and they were all doing their own things. They were all having their phone, and they were all, doing their own things. So
Mhm.
yeah, you may be together, but you're not actually communicating or connecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one
No,
of.
sometimes I do give my youngest one the device. I do fall into the trap because I'm like, they're going crazy, won't sit down. So I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I just, give them the device. But we always try to make mealtime no device time.
Right.
So I often do not go out to eat because because I know if we go out to eat, my youngest one's going to be like, "Hey, we're gonna go. Time for TV." I'm like, "No, no."
Yes,
Yeah,
gotta put our foot down.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, just a gentle reminder also to all our moms and mompreneurs or working moms out there. Don't have that mom's guilt that just now we mentioned, but carve out time, right? Carve out time. Set aside as non-negotiables for your loved ones, especially your children, and don't forget your spouse as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are, yes, very good example of the challenge that most of us are women faced, right? Yeah. Okay, we from this class living is a social enterprise, so our focus is in developing courageous women leaders, and then to create a positive impact through our business in our own sphere of influence. And in the midst of that, we also actually created two communities. One is Women of Courage Asia, which we provide a safe space for women to come and share and provide that support, share their stories of courage from a victor's mindset instead of a victim's mindset. So it's not a pity party; it's a structured
Mhm.
monthly empower meeting where we reflect on our lives and learn from the takeaways, from each other, and we provide mentoring as well. And the other platform is Her Courage Business Network. So this is a network where we rally all the female entrepreneurs together, right, so that we can learn from each other and grow our businesses together. And I'm specifically reaching out to the sandwich group. Yeah, because I think the sandwich group uh, face a lot of challenge. I don't know about in America, but yeah, later maybe you can share a little bit about the support system that probably Sunrider has put in place to support the female entrepreneurs. Yeah, so in Singapore, if we're talking about government grants and things like that, there are plenty of support in terms of the funding. Yeah, but in the area of mental and emotional support, the soft side of it, yeah, this,
Mhm.
this is where we and the leadership and personal development side of it, this is where Class Living and Her Courage Business Network hopes to um, provide that support.
Mhm.
So can you share a little bit about what kind of support system, is there any support system, or what are the support systems that are put in place
Yeah,
within the company? Mm.
my kids are trying to get into the room. I think in the US, I don't think we have as many built-in social support systems,
Mm.
so we have to create our own, right?
Mm.
So we do it through the Chamber of Commerce for our
Mhm.
cities where we are here, and they have the women entrepreneur groups and women in business groups, and we do for Women's Month in March. We just had like a really big, and we usually host it at Sunrider as well. We have a big women's celebration, and they give out awards to all the female entrepreneurs, and trying to pair people up. So we do have like a leadership program too here in the U.S. that we participate in, but it's mostly local, mostly
Mm.
local. Um, I kind of wish that there was more institutionalized in the U.S., but it's not as much. So I think what's important for us here is we just have to find those organizations, and they're not difficult to find, but go online, search for the women's organization closest to you, and there are a lot of people who are building them up all the time. So I think it's really great. They have opportunities to share, to learn, to mentor, to be a mentee as well, and meet up with small businesses or women in larger businesses as well. So there's a lot of networking opportunities here. And at Sunrider, we are, half female owned. So, we started it together. So half. And I think I was really lucky because my mother is a very strong woman. And so I never felt like, oh, women don't have a voice. No, in our business, women have a strong voice. And so when people I hire, we don't ever look at the gender. We always just look at the person. What can you bring to the table, right? And so I think all growing up, I always thought, it's what you can bring that's important. So don't be afraid. Just raise your hand, say what you want, because it's probably a good thing. It's probably a good idea. You just don't know.
Yeah. I think having role models and mentors in our lives are so important. Yeah. So we used to, volunteer and serve in the girls' home, the juvenile institution here. We call it Singapore Girls' Home or the Women's Prison. And what we realized something is that the ladies, or the girls, they basically just lack role models in their lives. Yeah. And many of them have leadership qualities. They're just being misplaced, in the different actions. So the other that leads me to the other area that I wanted to hear your point of view. That is core values, because we believe that we must have a set of strong core values when we run our businesses, and in fact for our own personal lives as well. So what are the core values that Sunrider has, and even yourself? Yeah.
Our core values, I think a lot of it are based off of social responsibility, making sure that we're aware of people and communities around us and giving back to them. So we're always looking for things that we can support in every country that we're in. And so we ask all of our managers, keep an eye out. Is there something that our salespeople are really passionate about? Is there something that we can help out with? Most recently, we're working with a group called Engage Now Africa, and building medical facilities for maternity wards, because in a lot of in those countries, they don't have access to prenatal care, postnatal care, or children's services after the kids are born. So we're trying to look after women and children. That's a big focus for us. And we also help with this group called Mentors International. We do microfinance loans, and most of the people who take out the loans are females. They're the women in the family, and they take out like 95% of the loans. And so those kinds of things are really important to us. Also innovation. I think that's one of our core values. Yeah. Trying to think outside the box. Trying to, we want to recognize people who bring good ideas to the table, and we tell everyone in the organization, this was great. Why don't you guys look at all of this, see if you can get any ideas from it? So we really want to recognize people who are innovative and come out with good ideas. And I think another one is honesty. That's definitely a core value, because we want people to trust us, and we want our employees to trust what we're saying as well. So exhibiting honest behavior and trying to make sure people can be as open as possible without any negative consequences is important to us. So having that kind of openness.
Wow. Yes, innovation as well as honesty and social responsibility, right? Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing your core values now, because this channel is and the core of what we do is to really awaken the courage of every woman and ignite her power of influence through her leadership. So I won't end the conversation without asking you these questions. What does courage and leadership mean to you?
I think courage means taking the time to get to know yourself so you know what you want to achieve.
Mm.
So a lot of times we're afraid to bring ourselves to the table. Sometimes we think, oh, I'll just do what society wants me to do, right? But I
Mhm.
think it's so important for you to figure out what you feel is really important.
Mhm.
And after you discover what you feel is really important, what you think is you can help people with, that you can bring that to the table
Mm.
and share your ideas without fear. So I think as long as you're true to yourself, you can always do that.
Right. Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts, Sunny. And I know your children is knocking on the door, trying to get your attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you share with us what any exciting uh progress and plans that Sunrider is launching or already launched that you want the audience to take note and check out?
There's a lot of things that we talk about all the time. We have new products coming out. We have our new Condensed Pure skincare set. We're trying to, because a lot of our products are based on herbs and botanicals. So we came out with a new skincare line. We already have skincare existing. Well, we already have a lot of anti-aging skincare, but we wanted to come out with something that was lighter, more suitable for Asian weather. It's very wet in a lot of Asia, so we want to make sure we could come out with skincare that was more suitable and that's very light, very healthy for your skin, and smells beautiful because it's all natural.
Right.
So that's one thing that we're coming out with is more skincare in our Condensed and Pure range. And it's really easy to use. I give it to my husband, and it's 4 steps. And at first, men are like 4 steps, but for women, 4 steps is nothing, right? It's like, little
Yeah,
steps.
you have like so many steps, right?
Yeah, but it's easy to follow. Men can do it. My daughter does it. She's 11.
Mhm.
And I gave it to her when she was 10. I said, "This is because you're going to get oily skin. This is how you take care of yourself." And so she does it. She showed her friends how to do it. It's pretty easy to use, and it smells. I mean, it smells like roses and cucumber. So I really like it.
Right.
And then we're also having our global convention, which is
Mhm.
going to be in Dallas, Texas. And it's our first time getting together in person in 3 years globally. So people from all over the world are
Wow.
going to come together. We're really excited for it.
Yeah, that's
Um,
so
yeah,
exciting.
we just built a manufacturing facility in Dallas, a new one.
Mhm.
And so we're going to have everyone tour the manufacturing. And I know a lot of people don't do that, but at Sunrider, we let people tour our manufacturing facility so they can see how our products are made and they feel comfortable with it.
Mm.
It's in pharmaceutical grade. It's very clean. Everyone has to wear the hats and the booties. And so it's really exciting to move into this new facility. And so we're excited to have everyone come and visit, especially our people from Singapore. I really hope they can come, but it's great that things are opening up so more people can come.
Yeah, I think things are going slowly back to normal, so to speak.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we are able to meet up in bigger groups now. Yeah, so I think that's really good news. And for those of you who want to find out more about Sunrider, I've put in the link in below this video, right? So you can go to www.sunrider.com.sg for the local ones, or home.sunrider.com, right? That's the
Mhm.
one for the international global website. Right. So thank you again very much, Sunny, for setting aside your time. And we look forward to meeting you in person as well.
Yes.
And yeah, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Thank
So
you for
for
having me.
Thank you. Yeah. And for those of you who have missed this session, if you're just logging in now, don't worry. You can watch the recorded version of this video. It will be in our YouTube channel, Voices of Courage Asia. So remember to click and subscribe and like and share the channel, right? The audio will also be uploaded to our podcast. So do check them out, right? Thank you once again, and have a great day ahead. And we will see you again in our next episode. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.